Hi, this is Elizabeth Stevens, news editor at the Missourian. I'm showing some quick training tips for copy editors working in Blox. When you log into Blox, you would want to go to editorial and assets just to kind of get set up. There is a save search for IceDesk editors. If you want to use IceDesk All to edit, that's the best option. We want to make sure that you know what workflow things are in, so I recommend adding the column workflow, and then you can, all of these columns adjust size-wise and different ways, so you can kind of see how things stand. They're usually organized by start time with the oldest at the bottom, and then things in the future at the top. The general rule of thumb is that when you are editing, that you start with items in IceDesk Fast, ready to edit, so things go from ready to edited, and then to published. Stories in IceDesk Fast are already live on the site. The IceDesk Fast queue gives us an opportunity to take a moment to read after it's already published, but any changes you make would go live on the site as soon as you save. IceDesk Slow means that it has not yet been published, and so we're giving the read before it goes on the site. So that's for most stories end up in IceDesk Slow. For the standard stories, breaking stories are going in IceDesk Fast. After that, then the priority is on the daily stories and then the advanced stories. So you can start to look at the start times that this is for. Today is January 12th, so these stories have more priority than the January 13th stories. When you are editing a story, and I'm going to grab a IceDesk Slow story here. So if you've been a reporter, then this all looks very familiar to you. You have a title, which is the headline. We do expect that you would edit that headline, rewrite a headline, think about search engines and how people are going to read that headline if it's going to draw them into the story. We do not need to leave the reporter headline. You'll also see in the body copy the reporter's name and phone number in case you need to call them. And then you will put that you were the copy editor. So CE, I'm just putting Elizabeth S in, that I copy edited it. Any local stories are going to get a dateline of Columbia. And then you're just editing for grammar, style, ACs, and you're going to fact check. There are not actually any CQs in here, but you would want to, even if there were, you'd want to kind of spot check the reporter on those, make sure that they were correct. Any links, you would want to make sure that they actually worked. So I usually open those in a different window just to make sure it goes to the right thing. And then, so in this case, I'm actually going to take out this part because we have it linked there as well. And so this is inline notes, this green text, so that does not show up on the site. So instead of deleting something or when you change something, you'll want to notes it out instead of just deleting it in case we need to go back and look at the history of what happened. Also, if you're going to add something, if you thought that there needed to be a comma here, you would put plus signs around it and put those in notes mode. So we would know that you had done that. But for example, if I was going to take out that comma, I would just notes it out. So things that I want to appear on the site, I need to make sure they are not in green. Things I don't want should be noted out. It's important to know that only body copy has inline notes. The summary field does not. So if you were to copy and paste something over that you had already taken out, if you, for example, I had a CQ in here, if I was to copy and paste that over, then that CQ is going to show up here. So you want to make sure you are checking for that and clearing out anything that was in notes once you get there. Make sure you update the start date time. I'm looking at this at 4 o'clock this day, and it hasn't been published yet, so I'm going to bump that time up. Make sure you're also double checking the date, that those start dates and times begin when the reporter starts the article. So there is no, so if it has a January 1st date, then it's going to be really hard to find on the site, so make sure it's a current date. Things that are scheduled for advance are usually going to be scheduled for 6 a.m. And you wouldn't want to mess with those times. Display priority, our local content gets a 1 through 4. It's the lowest is the most important. And wire stories are usually 5 through 10. I'm going to stop there. In the next video, then I will get into this side panel and what we do over here.